A narcissist is dependent on your reaction or your response or this piece of you showing them something. The reason why I bring it up like that is because the dependency piece sounds really weird. You think, well, it doesn't seem dependent on me at all because he walks away, he leaves, he triggers me, all these things. But I need you to understand he's dependent on your reaction because he's waiting for something to happen so he feels better about himself, or he's waiting for something to happen because it's going to give him supply. Now, supply is always an interesting word. And supply is an interesting word because inside the healing community, people understand narcissists view other people as supply. Outside the healing community, people are like, whoa, you just called that person supply? How rude. You're an awful person. Be like, no, that's what we talk about when we talk about narcissistic supply. Typically, the first thing people attach it to is another person. He's getting supply from you, then he's getting supply from the new supply, then he's getting supply from the next supply, and then so on and so forth. Everyone becomes a supply station for the narcissist. And supply station being he's using and abusing to get what he wants in the moment. And as a result, he feels better in the moment because he's getting something from you. Sometimes people think, well, why doesn't he go to the next person and leave me alone? Simply because he's still getting something from you. This is where you turn into a vending machine that has no cost and has no limit. And he keeps walking up to you each and every day and pressing your buttons. And he presses a button and he gets a Coke out of the machine. So he's like, sweet, free Coke. I can keep coming back here all day. So he's going to keep coming back, pressing your buttons and getting the Coke. This is just the vending machine idea that you become a vending machine to the narcissist and simply be his supply. And you're just not supplying Coke. You're supplying like all of these reactions, all these responses that are boosting his ego, that are pumping him up, that are making him feel that he's better than you. All of these reactions are what he is dependent on to fill himself up. We see this in so many different aspects. One aspect that I think is very integral is women that are in business. You have your own business, you're an entrepreneur, you've been running business for years, and you've gotten with a guy that is less than in the business world. Simply, he makes less money, he works less, he doesn't show up, he hasn't created anything, he's freeloading off of you, however you want to put it. And you get with a guy that is making less money than you. And simply put, he's trying to get with you so he feels better about himself. But he gets with you and he doesn't feel better about himself because he realizes it's your hard work that's put you there, not his. So as a result, he starts to belittle and degrade and beat you down. Then at this point, he's starting to look for reactions and responses from you to make himself feel better about himself. You go off and you start to feel crazy. He's like, whew, yeah, you might have a huge company and business, but at least I'm the sane one. Now, he might not say that, but that's what he's thinking. Because in reality, he's trying to get a reaction from you. He's trying to get something to be able to come back from you so that he feels better about himself and you look less than. Narcissists try to belittle, degrade, and beat you down over and over and over. And it's often subtle comments, small passive-aggressive things about how you look, about what you're wearing, about what you're doing, about your confidence, about your money management, all different types of pieces that slowly chip away at you and beat you down over and over and over again. And when he's doing this, he's trying to be able to get a reaction from you. When he gets a reaction from you, you become a supply. Now, supply can be a person. Supply can simply be, you're in my ecosphere, so I'm getting supply off of you. That's what he's doing. Or it could simply be a reaction in the moment. So he might get supply from you, but he also might get supply from someone else based on the reaction that they give him, positive or negative. People oftentimes get this so confused because they think, well, I'm going to call him out. I'm going to get him. And they call him out and then they expose him and all these things. And it's still a reaction. Simply put, because he's still getting you to react. He's still getting you to respond in a way that you might not normally respond, but he still looks at it and is like, yep, I still got it. Because she's still coming after me. She's still crazy about me. We see this happen so many times that narcissists will do things to get a reaction out of you. This reaction piece that he's looking for, this supply, is all about making him feel better. This is why he becomes dependent on your response. And dependent on your response doesn't mean that he's this engaged, dependent person on you to the place where he's actually willing to change and grow. It simply means he's looking to you to get a reaction so he feels better about himself. That's it. There's not this piece of, oh, well, let me get a response from you so I can grow and change and develop. No, it's let me get a reaction, because reaction puts him in control. Have you heard of reactive abuse? Reactive abuse is where you show up as the crazy, irate, insane person that's screaming, that's yelling, that's throwing things simply because you've been pushed to the edge so many times you finally step over the edge into crazy land. And you're like, I'm going to respond the same exact way to give you a taste of your medicine. And you think it's going to do something when in reality it doesn't, because he just looks back at you very calmly and he starts recording you. Then he starts making you think like, wait a second, I am this person. I am the abusive person. And you stay longer because you think that you have the problem. So as a result, you go to therapy to fix you, not understanding and realizing that he's the one that's caused this. In reactive abuse, most people get confused because they're focusing on the reaction, not the action that actually started the reaction to begin with. So what actually prompted your response? What actually prompted you raging out? What actually prompted you getting so upset? Was it because this is how you respond to every single person, or this is how it's been because you respond to him over and over and over again because of what he keeps doing, how he keeps pressuring and pushing you, because he's dependent on the response that you're going to give, because he's expecting you to act crazy, because when you act crazy, he feels less crazy. All it is looking for supply reaction to what he does. How many of you have struggled with this? Like, you listen to this video and you think, hey, I think I've actually done reactive abuse. Type in me in the chat below. Just type it in to say, hey, this is me. This is something I've struggled with. It's okay. Part of it is I want people to see that it's not just you that have struggled with it. Multiple people have struggled with it. But at the end of the day, you need to realize that the reaction is your responsibility. Notice I didn't say it's your fault. I said it's your responsibility, because as you become aware of what he's actually doing, this means you become empowered to actually change it. The hard part is when you don't and you're unwilling to because you want to stay in a victimhood mentality. Yes, we're going to step on some toes. So slide over, grab your steel boots. Because part of the victimhood mentality keeps you stuck saying, I can't help my circumstance. I can't get free. I can't. And as a result, you won't. Because whatever you say that you're going to do is what you're going to do. You think you can't, therefore you never will. The victimhood mentality gives it up to the other person and abdicates your responsibility and abdicates your ability to actually change, grow, and develop you. Instead, it leaves you stuck based on your reactions, your responses to this guy, because that's what he's looking for. You to have this reaction that makes him feel better about himself and continues to put you down. Reactive abuse is real. We have to look at the action that happened before the reaction. But then we also have to look at your responsibility now that you're becoming aware that you're reacting. Now we have to work on helping you change how this is actually going down. Because otherwise he's going to push your buttons every single day and it's going to make you respond in a way that you don't want to respond. So we have to look at it differently. We have to look at it and be able to say, okay, if he's going to keep pressing this button, what's underneath the surface that's triggering you to let that button be pressed? What do we have to do to actually snip the wires of that button so it no longer activates this neurons or no longer activates this response from you? Oftentimes it's a piece that we have to help you work on changing the story you believe. This is not a place of gaslighting. This is not a place of just rewriting history and glossing over things that have happened. No, it's helping you actually rewire, which means we're getting you back to the truth and reality, which means you don't argue with crazy. Like, you stop arguing with someone who doesn't exist in your reality, who doesn't exist in your ecosphere of logic, that doesn't exist here in the moment. But instead, he's looking at himself. Instead, he's looking at what he wants, regardless of you, regardless of anything else. He's dependent on what you're going to say, what you're going to do. So you have to learn how to be independent in the things that you say and the things that you do, because otherwise you will only react to what he says and what he does. So we have to get you to a place where you help to rewire your mindset, reset how you're actually showing up. Because if we don't do this, he's always going to be in control. When he's always in control, you abdicate your responsibility for it. You say, hey, I'm going to stay in victimhood and I'm no longer going to get free because he's in control of me. I can't do anything about it. It's 100% not true. But we have to bring you to a place of helping you change the story you believe, because otherwise you'll believe a lie. You'll believe another reality that he's selling to you that's not actually true, that's not actually real. This is where we have to help you get free. If you're in a toxic relationship today, you're trapped mentally, emotionally, physically, you're not sure what to do. You're not sure how to be able to get this clear up here in your mind because all you're doing in this moment is reacting to everything that's going on. Then I want you to reach out. Go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. And the reason why I say this is because there's a video on there that I want you to be able to watch, be able to understand how to actually be free mentally and emotionally, how I actually partner with you to find your freedom and your liberation from the toxic guy that's in your life. If I can help you with that today, then go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough today.